Hey there friends, and welcome back to Make Your Money Thrive. My name is Christina, and in today's video I'm going to be doing my January week 3 check-in as well as doing my cash stuffing into my expenses envelopes for January week 4. So let's jump right into it. Alright, so let me start by saying I definitely did not do a good job of tracking my expenses this week because my kiddo has been in the hospital. If you're not familiar, he is currently battling cancer and has been for the last couple of years. So he's been in the hospital for a couple of weeks now, fighting an infection, which is getting better, and he should be coming home here soon. So since I had to come home and do laundry, I was able to come and get the cash that I need to kick off our new budget week, which starts tomorrow while we are still in the hospital, and also do my check-in for week 3. So while I haven't been able to really keep track of the expenses we've had, I do know that there is still cash in some of my cash envelopes and all of that. So I'm just going to be looking at what's left and not really stress about not having written it down. I do have receipts from the week, so if I really want to, I could go back and just fill everything into my expense tracker. Will I do that? Most likely not, if just keeping it real, but I could do that. But really, when it comes to my weekly expenses, the most important thing really is checking in what I have remaining and making a decision on what to do with that extra cash. In particular, making sure I'm sweeping it towards my goals. So that's exactly what we'll be able to do with January week 3. All right, so I have my week 3 check-in right here, and I have my cash envelopes. Let me just make sure everything is in order because I think they got a little bit out of order. Okay, perfect. So the first area that I'll start with is groceries, and this is my groceries envelope right here. In groceries, I do still have some cash left. I have $5, $10, $15 left in groceries, which is not bad. At the hospital, we don't consume really anything that they have at the hospital. So, buying juices is common for my kiddo to be able to hydrate himself. And then I will get like coffees and soup. I've been doing soups this week since my kiddo has been on clears and then onto soft foods. But really pleased that there's $15 left in groceries. I could put one of these 5s in my $5 savings challenge and probably would have if it had been a normal week, but I am just going to mark it off as $15 remaining. So I started with $120, so that means that $105 is the total that I would have spent this week. So carryover is going to be a no. It's going to go to my cash sweep savings challenge. So I am going to put, you know what, I think I will do 10 going to my cash sweep, and then I'm gonna do 5 in $5 savings challenge because that sounds like a fun idea. So I'll put that there, and I will leave this right here since it's cash sweep. So next I have gas, and gas is empty. So that means that it started with 25 and total spent was 25, and there's nothing remaining. So I don't have to decide about carryover or what's going to goal. Household is next, and in household, I know I just used some cash actually earlier today. So I have $20 to $5 remaining, and I started with $52. So that means $27 was spent this week out of household, and amount remaining was 25. Carryover is a yes. Household gets carried over since I do that one more monthly, and nothing will be going to my goal then. So then I have spending next, and in spending I have $20 left. I started spending with $40, so that means that I spent 20 since there's $20 remaining. Carryover is a no, and I'll put that entire amount to my goals. That's exciting. Eating out is next, and in eating out I have $5 left. So with eating out, I started with 40, I have 5 left, so that meant 35 was spent. Amount remaining 5, carryover is a no, and that $5 will go to my goal. And then the last one that I have an envelope for is Fun. And Fun has some cash in here. That's exciting. I have $4 left out of Fun. And Fun started with 15, so that means I spent 11. $4 left. No, I won't carry that over. And what I'll do here is put $2 towards my goal and $2 into my dollar savings challenge. And then my kiddo's allowance, even though he hasn't received his allowance yet for the week because he's been in the hospital and recovering and all that fun stuff, I'm going to put $10 spent because that money is not touchable. That's not something that I'm going to be sweeping at all. So I'll put $10 spent, or do I want to put, you know what? I won't do that because I'll put nothing spent and then I'll just say it's a carryover. And I'll just let it be kind of extra cash in his allowance sinking fund and do it like that. And that way I'm kind of like ahead on his allowance so that it is, you know, if I ever have to cut any corners or whatever, I won't have to affect his allowance. So I just put a note to say put in sinking fund. And then finally I have my weekly buffer, which is this $5 right here. It's still here. So I didn't spend anything out of my weekly buffer this week. And I have $5 remaining. So I am actually also going to carry over my buffer. And so amount to goal is going to be 0. And if I still have anything left next week, then I'll sweep it. But I want to keep it because I feel like I'm going to need quite a few things for home next week, since my kiddos should be coming home next week and I will have a lot of cooking and freezing to do. So that is that. That is my week 3 check-in. Let's get some totals here. So in terms of my starting balance, I had 120 plus 25, 52, 40, 40, 15, 10, and 5. So $307 as the starting balance this week. Total spent was 105 plus 25 plus 27 and 20 and 35 and 11. So that's $223. So then my amount remaining, I'm gonna do this way first. So 307 minus 223. Got way too excited. So 307 minus 223 is $84. So I have 15 plus 25, 20, 5, 4, 10, and 5, which is also $84. Excellent. I always like just doing it both ways to make sure it ties out. And then in terms of going to my goal here, I have 10 plus 20, so that's 30, 35, 37. That should be going to my goal. And 7, that should be going to my $1 and $5 savings challenges. So I want to give this account and make sure that it is $37. So I have 20, 25, 30, 35, 36, and 37 going into my cash sweep savings challenge, which is really, really great. So I'll grab my January cash sweep savings challenge and I will stick it right here in the envelope. All right, and then I also have this $7 right here going into my $1 and $5 savings challenges. So it's actually in the same binder, which I could have just kept it out. So my $1 savings challenge right here is going to get $2. And then my $5 savings challenge will get $5. Alrighty. So then I am just going to very quickly stuff my envelopes for January week number 4. I'll start by just listing out my expense categories. So my weekly expenses are kept in this binder here, where I allocate cash and then use it on a weekly basis to stuff my expenses envelopes. So we will start with groceries, and groceries is going to get $120. So I will do 20, 40, 60, 80, 120. Do that. And then I still have 2 weeks left of expenses for groceries in my envelope there. I'll put that right in here. Sometimes these envelopes get kind of tight, so if you don't put the cash in just right, it gets all cattywampus, but we fixed it. All right, then gas is next, and gas is going to get $25. So I will do 20 and 5. I usually like to keep them grouped by week in here, but I didn't do that when I stuffed them, so I just fixed that so that it's grouped by week. Makes it a lot easier to see like what I'm supposed to do in there and stuff. Household doesn't have anything in its envelope, and it doesn't need to get anything stuffed, so it is just going to be starting. Oh, it would be helpful if I put my gas money away. I'll do that really quickly. Okay. But household will be starting with $25, which is carryover from last week. All right, next is spending, and spending is going to get $40 this week. Actually, I lied. Allowance is actually next for my kiddo. I just don't have it in here with a weekly expense envelope, but I'm keeping his allowance right now in this month ahead envelope. So he's gonna get $10. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And then let me just sort this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Perfect. So now this is sorted for the last 2 weeks that are in here. All right. So $10 into allowance, and I will set that aside for my kiddo. All right, and then spending is next, and that's gonna get $40. So 20 and 40. And then I will put that here into my spending envelope. Eating out is next, and that's also getting $40. So 20 and 40. Put that into my eating out envelope. And then fun is next, and that's going to get $15. All right. Get this sorted out really quickly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So all of them have been sorted into stacks. Okay, and then this is 5, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 going into my fun cash envelope. And then all of my cash envelopes for the weeks have been stuffed. So that's perfect with my weekly expenses. And then the last category I have on here is my weekly buffer. And that does not have an envelope yet, but it's going to be getting $5. And sometimes I just like to have this just available in my wallet or purse. And I know that it's my buffer, and this is something I just recently added to. All right, so I went ahead and got everything stuffed. I can go ahead and just get a total of what I started with. I might as well. So 120, 25, another 25, 10, 80, 15, and 5. Gives me a total of $280 is what I'm starting with. All right. And that's that. That's my January week 3 check-in and stuffing my cash envelopes for the 4th week of January. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you put a like on it and don't hesitate to say hey in the comments down below or let me know if you have any questions, and be sure to get subscribed. I'd absolutely love to have you here. I can't wait to see you in the next video. Bye.